we get a lot of people who come to us and say, hey, I just want a one-time plan. And today we're going to talk about that of, hey, maybe that's all you need, but what may be you missing if that's what you do versus what does it look like to have an ongoing plan? So that's what we're going to talk about on today's episode of Joe Knows Retirement. So we work with a lot of people of all different backgrounds. Most of the clients we work with typically have at least $1 million or more saved up. So they're going to need more advanced planning, more advanced strategies. A lot of that around the idea of tax planning. Obviously, taxes for those people who have been diligent savers, who have most of their wealth in tax-deferred investments or maybe taxable investments, which have a lot of gain in there. You're going to face some big tax consequences in the future. Now, the good news is if you can be proactive and implement the strategies the right way, you can actually end up paying a lot less in taxes just through tax planning. That's what we're able to help a lot of people do by really reading all the tax incentives in the tax code and finding the ones that apply to their situations. And we always joke with this of like, hey, if you're not reading the tax code or staying up to date on tax law changes, are you truly confident with DIYing your retirement? And if so, maybe you just enjoy it and you're okay missing things. And if that's the case, that's your money, it's your plan, it's what you've worked hard for. You can do whichever you please. But if you're really looking to maximize things, you may want to consider what does that look like if you do miss those things, and is it important for you to get the help to ensure you get the right things done? So with that being said, like I said, we get people that come to us and say, hey, I just want a one-time plan. And it's something that we've actually gone away from, and there's been a few reasons why. One reason is because it's hard to do a one-time plan because we look at things so future-based. Because there's so many assumptions and there's so many things that can change over time. So if we show someone a one-time plan, it may only be good for a few months, because what if a law changes? Well, that just messes up that entire plan. And so what we really like to do is work with our clients ongoing. We like to have ongoing relationships where we can stay up to date. We can reach out to them at least every quarter and show them, hey, here's what we're seeing change. Let's make this pivot. Let's do this. Let's make sure that the investments are managed the right way. If we see a market trend that we need to adjust to, maybe we see higher interest rates like we're seeing now. Do we want to adjust more over there? But if we're only talking to someone once, we're going to miss out on a lot of those different types of opportunities. And really, there's a lot of things that just come up out of randomness that need plan for. And so that's why we've gone away from that one-time plan, because we just didn't feel like it was truly in the client's best interest that we were working with to just say, hey, here's all this, and then it's kind of blinding them from what can happen moving forward. And so and we also just felt that if we're not looking at everything in total ongoing, that we're going to miss things. And we get the question a lot too, like, hey, can I just move a portion of my investments over to you to manage? And we don't get it a lot, but here and then. But we tell them no, and it's not because we don't want to help them. It's just simply that we're not going to be able to do our best work. And if you have advisors out there that are willing to just manage a small portion of your portfolio, then I would really question if they're truly doing comprehensive planning, because if we don't have all the assets to work with, we may be missing things. We may be not having the same strategies that we're trying to implement with these and what these strategies are trying to do over here with maybe on your own or another advisor. And so you just want to make sure everything's working together. And that's why we always talk about with our 5-pillar approach, we need to have everything in place. Most of the people who come work with us is because of tax planning, is because of the fact that, hey, most of these DIY personas, I'll say, they've done really well over time. They've done a great job of investing. They've put their money in the market. The market's done really well. They haven't really done anything special from that standpoint. They've just really done well of accumulating, it's hard. That's great. But when it comes to more advanced strategies, they may not be necessarily getting those done. And so that's where a team like ours typically comes in and shows, hey, here are the things that we can do to really make a difference, and then making sure it gets implemented. Because the other thing we see is we call it implementation risk, right? If we just do a one-time plan and we say, all right, go figure it out, our strategies are much more advanced, where it's not as easy as just signing a paper and getting it done. You're going to actually have to really seek out the right guidance to get it done the right way. And so we were seeing ourselves build plans for people and then nothing would get done. and then they'd come back in a couple years and say, hey, can you take a look at things again? We need to make sure we're in the right place, and nothing got done and they were way behind. And so that's why we decided, as a firm, we want to make sure we can just help people ongoing is ultimately what we do. And there's people out there that do one-time plans, so if you're looking for that, you can find that. Again, I would just challenge you to see, is that really what you want? And when you look at the fees you're going to be paying ongoing versus one time, it may not be that far off depending on the type of services you're looking for. And so, you may be able to get pretty big, advantage there. And then you also have to look at, what are your current investments? Maybe you're not working with an advisor, but maybe those investments have internal expenses in them. Again, you're already paying a fee. And you can maybe easily work with an advisor and not pay too much more than what you're already paying, but get all that comprehensive help. So those are just some of the things that you want to be looking for there. But again, I would just encourage you, explore further if you want to really delegate in retirement. What does that look like? And something else that we get with a lot of the people that we work with, why they come and work with us is, again, we're talking mostly about this DIY, this do-it-yourselfer who, they've done great over all these years, but maybe they've gotten to a point where they're just like, I want to delegate. I don't want to plan my retirement anymore. I want to make sure I can enjoy my retirement. I don't want to watch the stock market. I don't want to read tax code changes every single year. That's when it could make sense to really look to delegate to a team to ensure you don't miss anything. And then you just have to look, is a fee I'm paying, am I getting more value for that ongoing? And something we always express with our clients is, hey, look, this is a daily agreement. If you're not happy at any point, you can leave at any time, and we make it always cordial if someone were to leave us. And if so, then we're gonna make sure that, if you don't feel that you're getting the value for what you're paying, we wouldn't want you to stay. That's not how business works. Business works where you pay money and you get more value than what you're paying. That's why you're dealing with a professional to help you in those senses. And so obviously for us, there's some people that we meet with where we'll tell them, hey, we can't help you because, we don't feel that we can add as much value for what you're looking for. Maybe we don't feel we can specialize and add the best value for that. We don't work with everyone is something we always say, because it's important. It's business, right? And you don't want to try to serve someone that you're not going to serve well, because that could lead to bad things. Now they're telling bad things about, hey, these guys said they could help us and they never ended up helping. Like, that just doesn't work well. So that's just the approach we've taken. So a lot of those people, they just want to delegate and make sure that they can get things done the right way. But another thing we see often is, people just really struggle in that tax planning side of things. They really have trouble knowing the advanced tax strategies with this persona. And so that's why most people come and work with us, is not only because of the tax planning part, but how that impacts the other 4 pillars. How that impacts investment planning, income planning, healthcare, and estate planning. If you want to leave money behind to kids, there's a lot of things you have to look out for. And if you have a higher net worth, now you're going to maybe want to look at planning with some advanced trusts and some other tax planning strategies that involve tax and estate. That's where things really get advanced. And those are going to be really hard to DIY. And so you want to make sure you not only have a great attorney, and typically we recommend an elder law attorney for most people who watch these videos, someone who is going to be, working with that crowd, because you have a different situation than someone who's maybe 30 years old, who has a family who's working. So just understand the differences there is something that we want to be aware of. But the other reason why I would say people want an ongoing relationship with us particularly is for the spouse. If one of them is a DIY, the other one may not be. And so a lot of people come to us and say, hey, I want to make sure that we maximize things moving forward. I know that I can do better. But also, if I pass away, my spouse is not going to know what to do. And in those cases, they need a trusted guide to ensure that everything is picked up, where they left off. And so that's going to be extremely important, especially with the widow's penalty and other things that put that spouse at a disadvantage. And so those are just some of the broad reasons why you may want to consider an ongoing plan versus a one-time plan. But again, we're not here to tell you what you need or what you want. If you want a one-time plan, it's out there. I'm just saying that we personally as a firm don't necessarily feel it's the best fit for many of the people we work with. So hopefully this video is just going to be educational for you and just help you, create your perspective of what you want. Maybe you do just continue doing it on your own if you feel comfortable. Like I said earlier, maybe you just enjoy it. And so those are things that I would recommend to you. So again, if you are looking for more of that ongoing type of plan for some of the reasons that we talked about today, feel free to reach out to us and schedule a time and we can have a conversation just to see where you're at, what you're looking for, and see if we could potentially help you. And if so, then we could set up another time to explore further. But if you're looking for this and you like the videos and you like what we talk about, then we'd be sure to be glad to hop on a call and see what that looks like for you. So you can do that by just in the description below, by just scheduling a time, and we'd be sure to see how we can help further. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and wrap up this episode of Joe Knows Retirement, and we will see you on the next one.
Since we do not know your specific situation, none of this information can serve as tax, legal, insurance, or financial advice and may be outdated or inaccurate. The information comes from sources believed to be reliable but cannot be guaranteed. This content is prepared for educational purposes only. If you need advice, please contact a qualified CPA, attorney, insurance agent, financial advisor, or the appropriate professional for the subject you would like help with. Peak Retirement Planning, Inc. is an Ohio-based registered investment advisor and able to offer advisory services in Ohio and in other states where registered or exempt from registration.